I'm seeing what the dog's secret activities are. I think they're just eating grass. There it goes. Got a nice patch right near my little plants. They eat grass so that they can regurgitate their food. So maybe she doesn't really like her food. Or maybe it makes her feel sick to have a stomach full of food all day long. So she only eats like once or twice a day. She doesn't really eat that much. Sometimes like breakfast turns into her dinner. And then she might have a bit more after that. She just generally walks around. Sometimes she breaks free, finds a hole, finds a way to get out of the yard, and then she's running off. And everyone's like, why you do that? You got such a big yard. Why you want to break free? The dogs love under the house for some reason. I think it's just damp and calming. It's where they can relax, I guess. She loves being under the house. But I must say the outside is a lot more nicer than the inside of the building. It's like inside there's all this tenseness, all this, person who owns a house is a little aggravated over all the changes that are taking place, and they really swing themselves into their personality, and their personality is not actually very bright and cheery. It's like, oh, I'm over-exaggerating stress even though I don't do anything, but I'm putting myself in a position where I do feel stressed. So she's all stressed out. Very tragic to be inside because there's a lot of stress. Even though I'm taking vacation, I'd rather have taken vacation from tomorrow, but they said no, next Tuesday, so I only need to make one trip. I'm like, fair enough. But I was invited today to stay at someone's house in November, so I might stay in their house until December, even though I only needed like 2 weeks into November, but I'm gonna probably try and stay another 2 weeks after they would come back, because then I can do my photo shoots in the city without having to bother someone to drive into the city once again. So I might just stay till December and do Christmas shopping. I have no idea when the concert is. Oh, that's why I need to come back, because they're going to send me the concert ticket by mail. So, no, I will need to come back and then go back. But I don't know when the concert's going to be. But I should know sometime. If it's not till January, I don't need to worry about coming back. But if it's in December, I'll have to come back for the concert tickets. So I'll have to get them to drive me out again to the city. But it's all hush-hush, updating about the concert, because it's like, they said, the end of the month. It's not the end of the month yet, quite. It's going to be at the end of the month in another week or so. But it's not the end of the month yet. But I haven't been updated when the concert's going to be. They said, rearrange dates, but then the artists took off their post on the internet, and so I was like, what, is it actually changing? And so I just don't know if it's actually gonna be changing or what. But I don't know. It's like it was announced like 7th of September, and then it's like hush hush, and it's like, what's the date now? It's like the 22nd or something of September, and so that was ages ago that it was announced, and then it's like, they haven't set the dates yet, so, and I'm like, annoying. But I almost hope it's like not until January, February, because then that just gives me another excuse to come into the city. But I don't know, it might be just like a week later. So if it is, I'll have to come back. I don't know. I just hope it's in January, because then I can just stay until the photo shoot and then go back. But if it's like not on the 3rd but the 13th, it's like annoying. I don't know what to do. Because they send you the ticket like in the week before the week in the week of the concert, and you're like going, that's an annoying schedule. They should send it to you like right away or a month early or something. And it's like a week's cutting it really short. Maybe I should just move out. I'm like thinking that's what I should do before all these tornadoes and things come along, because ideally there's supposed to be like 7 coming around December to January or February, I think. And you're like going, because usually there's 2. The 2 visit, and then it's like 7. That should wipe out. It will wipe out our building, because we've got like absolutely no protection. And if a volcano erupts, we don't have fireproof on the house or anything. There's no windproofing, there's no fireproofing, there's no curtains protecting the windows. Absolutely nothing, because the person's a fantasy idealist. They like to imagine that problems won't come, and then they don't prepare themselves for them. And then they're like, oh, this is a wonderful house. Oh, it's a wonderful garden. It's a wonderful dream. And all this and stuff. And then go into a little fantasy land of impracticability. I mean, they have lived here before. I knew they've lived here before. But they go into a little fantasy land, and then it's like, everything's perfect. It's like my dream and everything. And they don't bother proofing the freaking house. It's like, no double windows. No double paned windows. No wind protection. No fire protection on the outside. No wind protection on the outside. Yeah, and they're just floating around going, oh, isn't this perfect? Isn't this the dream when everything's finished, when all this building's finished? It'll be like my house and everything's going to be perfect. And then they're not like thinking, oh shit, what if a tornado comes? What if a volcano explodes? Have I proofed this house? It's like, no, you haven't proofed it. Why am I staying with them? And they disregard chickens. They don't think chickens are worth saving, so they don't have any emergency evacuation plans or anything. They're just going, da 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 da. Isn't my garden perfect? Isn't my tanks perfect? Isn't this perfect? And it's like, they will not listen to you until they're faced with the problem issue. And then they're like, what do I do? And it's like, well, even if the normal 1 to 2 cyclones, tornadoes come along, they'll be like wrecking that house. It's like all their money's invested in that house, and it's like, oh, but I haven't prepared my house for such a thing. But it's all their problem. And if I distance myself, it would be just their problem. It wouldn't be my problem anymore. So I was hoping that I get this job, but then it's like, but I don't think I'll get it. I have a feeling I really screwed up the interview. It's like I didn't know specifics about the internet, because I've asked before, what kind of internet do we have, and they're like, oh no, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know the specific answer to the question. I said, yeah, it's definitely over 50, because I've had 50 GB jobs before, and it's definitely handling it really well. I've got a really fast computer anyways, but you're sending me a computer anyway, so that will disregard the computer slowness. But it's essentially really good internet connection. And they said, oh, it's an NBN or ADSL, and I'm like, I don't really know, it's broadband something. But I guessed ADSL, but it was NBN, so I was like, oh, I really screwed that up. So I sort of wrote an email to clarify what we have, and then it's like, okay, well, that's all I can do. But I have a feeling I'm not going to get it because I kind of screwed that up and, my information. And then I gossiped over it, like not really knowing much about specific industry that they were questioning, role-playing you in. And you're like, obviously, that's all made up, all fabricated, and I don't know a thing about, like Fox or something. And it's like, yeah, that's understandable. I mean, it's all just hypothetical anyways. So, but I didn't really do that great. I need a notepad. I need to keep a notepad so I can write things down and stuff. But I was sort of just doing it off the top of my head, and I was like, yeah, well, that didn't really do very well. But I don't know. I hope I do get it though, because then I've got 2 jobs, and then I can float out of here and settle somewhere. Well, and then I can avoid all this muck with the house and the natural weather. Oh. Doggy! Come on, back inside. Kiara! Oh, it's not the person. That's good that she runs.